All right, Mike Albright here. I'm going to go over some helpful tips in this next series. Going to turn background music off here a little bit. We're going to start from the very basics. I can't count how many other amazing musicians that I've run into, mostly guitar players, who would struggle with high quality guitars and struggle with constant tuning problems. It was just amazing how somebody with a brand new Les Paul, just a guitar off the top of my head, that wouldn't stay in tune, and they'd curse that guitar until I look over at it and see how they had strung it, or a friend had strung it. It's always the friend. And then down here, and you would see strings wrapped around too many times with a big loop hanging off, and my pet peeve, the excess string hanging off there looking like it's ready to poke you in the eye at any given second, which would really hurt. And yeah, I know this guitar's a little dusty. You got to get her cleaned up after I restring her. I've already done the 6th, 5th, and the 4th string. The first is the one that caused this. It broke after these strings were on here about 3 weeks. Been playing this guitar a lot. The key to keeping your guitar in tune is as many wraps as possible. I kind of undercut this one a little bit on the A string, hoping for the best. That's not too bad. We got good 5 wraps right there on the D string, and looks like 6 here on the E string. That's not going to go out of tune once these strings are properly broken in and stretched. And once again, I've heard horror stories of people, well, I get my strings and I throw them in a pot of boiling water and I let them boil for half an hour. That stretches them out. No, that doesn't stretch them out. That rusts the nickel wrapped strings from the inside out. That's what that does. They're not meant to be thrown into a pot of boiling water like a lobster, and then you're all stretched out. Yeah, and the people that would make that comment were the ones who were still fighting to keep their guitar in tune. Like I said, I had one friend who just was ready to throw a $2,000 guitar through a window, blaming the manufacturer of the guitar when he should have looked in the mirror, because I've seen how his friend strung it and literally had strings going through the hole in the tuning pegs tied into a knot and then twisted half a turn. No, that's not going to work. I even saw one. I was wondering, what's this hanging off the end of the headstock of his guitar? Here he had 3 strings clamped down once he got them relatively in tune, right here with a pair of needle nose vice grips. Really? Why don't you just clamp it right here, and or here, wherever, and use it as a capo. And capos, well, my feelings on them is that's an entirely new show altogether. So okay, let's get started here. I'll change the camera angle. No, it's all about camera angle here anymore, I'm telling you. All right, so I'm gonna start here with this G string. Bring it down till it is loose enough to carefully stretch over, come up over the knot, till you keep turning here until you can get that one backwards wrap around that, and then carefully, because the ends of these are, as you know, are super sharp, and if you aren't careful, you can get this tiny little end here and scratch your guitar pretty good with that. The nitrocellulose finish doesn't take too well to these strings dragging across them with that pointy end. So, then I bring it here. This guitar saddle, good stop tail piece here. I cut it just shy of where the tailpiece is, and then I slowly take that little guy out of there. That will cause all sorts of problems, and I don't know, for the last 50 years I can always picture one getting up under my fingernails for some reason, but ow. Okay, so we're going to discard that. Most of the string I got off here. I'll do some wraps and a couple more underneath. That way, when it gets thrown in the trash, it'll stay in that circle. If they recycled them, I'd take them to a guitar string recycling facility. I like it. Okay, so I play pretty light gauge strings, so we're going to put a 14 on this G string. It's 14 thousandths of an inch. So do the tail piece. Careful again with the ball end. Any reason to not scratch my finish is a good thing. Now, here's another mistake that I see all too often. They'll come up if they're doing this G string and they'll come on this end and wrap it around the post the wrong way, and then the string's leaning against the B. That's no good. You wind them from the inside part at all times. And I try to calculate it and see how much string I'm going to need. With this string, you could get a lot of string coverage. So I twist this. See, my camera angles actually kind of suck, but I'm going to twist this until I get just about the 6 o'clock position, pointing towards the neck. Then I kind of pull it tight, bend that up. That way, as you're turning the tuning peg, you're not going to be dragging that string all over your finish. And here, this is my way of doing it. I keep tension on that string going up to the tuning peg with this finger, and I keep tension on my bridge. You don't want to string this with no tension on this guitar. You're going to have problems. So doing these are a little bit more difficult physically for my neck injury, but and I don't believe in the real fast string winders, just not for me. I want to feel what's going on, and you want to make sure. See, I can switch over to this now. I want to make sure when this wraps around this peg, it doesn't get up over itself and start winding upwards. You don't want that. So once you get it started, it'll be self-guiding pretty much. So I got that. And I'm still keeping tension down here like that. So it's, see, that kind of worked its way above. You don't want that, that's no good. We want this to wind below where it goes through the hole. And here we go, got it corrected. And I'm gonna wind it some more. Maybe another turn. Make sure it didn't get back up into that bad position. It did not. So let's continue until we're almost there. And then I want to make sure, back on this saddle type bridge assembly, that my string is sitting in the groove on the saddle, or else you're still going to have problems too. Could nick the string trying to get it in a position, and anything like that can be a problem down the road, especially if you're playing live and you break a string. Been there, done that. Not fun. Not a cool place to be. Okay, so we are on the notch on the saddle right there. Perfect. Now we're up here, and we're getting to the point where we're getting some tension on it. And get it close. It's going to be a while till I get these stretched out correctly. And then get that right there. And that's how you do it. You gotta do it 6 times. And get as many wraps as you can like right here, what I just did. Let's get in here a little bit closer. You can see I could have got more wraps out of it, but I got a good 7 wraps on that. I'm not too worried about it. And it is routed the right way. Just a matter of getting the rest of this restrung, polished up, cleaned up, polished up, and get some of these fine scratches out that are just going to happen. And this will be one happy ESP. And we'll see you next time. This is Mike. Bye.